Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. Time to dig into some prep. So, overall, the overall sentiment is very strong to the upside. Lots of buying going on. We've rally, consolidate, gap down, rally. Yesterday, we knew that we were opening right near the top of some squeezes, so we talked about shorts early. Those played out well. Then we caught some longs, more shorts, and then we loaded long for the rest of the day up to the squeeze tops and up to new highs of the week. We arrived above that 40.56 and held it all night long. In between that 40.56, that 40.71. Now looking at today, we have a very clear scenario in front of us. We still have a 30-minute squeeze and 1 hour squeeze intact. We did grind against that 1 hour squeeze, pushing it up and somewhat opening and firing, but then it just established again. At least now that 1 hour squeeze, the bottom of it sits at 40.50. So it's very clear today. 30-minute squeeze bottom, 40.56, 1 hour at 40.50. We need to hold 40.50, 40.56 on any dips to continue up to 40.71, 40.87, 4100, 4108, and the top of the 2-day squeeze. Those are our upside targets. If we start to give out that 40.50, we want to target back to 40.41, 40.35, 40.27, which was yesterday's low. That's where the daily 8 now sits. Below that, 40.20 and 4,000. If for any reason we start to see some breakdowns today. But overall, let's take a quick look at some of our side charts. On NQ, we had our trend line from last year's highs. And as we zoom in, NQ finally closed a candle above that trend line, right at the daily 200. And today, NQ is trying to push off that daily 200 and this trend line. So we've got NQ starting to break out from last year's highs. ES has already broken out from last year's highs, pulled back to test the trend line, and popped off of it. We'll see it when it loads. While we wait on that to load, oh, never mind, there it is. So we can see our trend lines from highs of last year. And as you can see, we closed above. We slipped back in to hit daily moving averages, closed above, and now pushing higher. So everything's saying time for the breakout. We just hit our daily moving averages, so we have plenty of room to get up to the third Keltner, which sits way on up near 4150. Before I get going too far, let me pull up our economic calendar. So we just had our PCE, disposable income and spending. At 10 a.m. we still have that University of Michigan data, so that first 30 minutes could be choppy. Could be a chance for them to take a dip to squeeze bottoms before the data drops at 10 a.m. It's just University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index and inflation data. You know, the last few data drops that we've had, CPI, PCE now, GDP yesterday, and even FOMC in January, all of them have not led to huge dumps. And we've been seeing that the numbers are getting better as far as inflation and GDP. So overall, not expecting some huge shocker from University of Michigan data. expecting it to be in line and support the thesis for further up. But we always should be ready for anything. So just to keep in mind, we do have that 10 a.m. data drop. After that, all clear. Monday, no data. The big one next week is FOMC on Wednesday. And then NFP on Friday. We have our, as always, jobless claims on Thursday. So, kind of a 1-2 punch next week with FOMC, NFP. But Monday and Tuesday are fairly light on econ data. So it could lend to, now that we have gotten through our PCE data, and our next big one is Wednesday, it could lead to a rally from today until Tuesday. So we could get yet another Friday, Monday rally up, and Tuesday settling into FOMC next week. So overall today on ES, we have our downside targets. We need to hold 40.50 for upside, below 40.50, 40.42, 40.35, 40.27, 40.20. If we can hold 40.50, 40.56, looking to get up to 40.71. Yesterday's highs, 40.77. Get up to 40.87 and then 40.100. Let's move on. NQ. NQ, pretty simple as well. Need to hold 12,980, 11,980. As long as we can hold there. Looking to carry up to about 12,150 near the top of this 2-day squeeze, which is very, very thin. Big key target to the upside, 12,250 if we can break out and keep pushing. We start to lose that 12,000, we want to target back to 900 and then 850 where the daily 8 sits. Below that, back to that 11,677. I'm always going to give you downside targets, even if we are expecting a move up, because we never know what the market's going to give us. All it takes is losing support, popping up and rejecting it for sellers to step in and push us back down. On to the ready. And real quick before I cover the ruddy, just looking at ES and my chart with all of the 45 EMAs from each time frame. If we look at yesterday, we hit squeeze tops, we dipped down to the blue line, which is the 1 hour 45. That's where we bounced, made our way back up higher. Today, very, very similar. If we look, that 1 hour 45 sits at that 40.50, just a hair below. So it lends to, we need to hold that 40.50 to continue higher. We could very easily just hold these first two MAs, which are the 30 and the 50 minute, like we've been doing overnight, which would be like holding 40.56. That's basically your overnight lows. And then if we lose that 40.50, we can see the next one's down at 40.35, the final one down near 40.20, the 4 hour. So our MAs, our 45 MAs, which I use to kind of mark change of trend, perfectly aligning with those key levels that I just covered in ES. That just helps give me extra confluence, extra confidence in those levels. Not only are they key levels in price action, but they are also key levels with the moving averages that I use to mark change of trend. On Ready, living life above 1900. Basically want to see it hold 1900, at the worst 1895. We start to lose that, then it's back down to yesterday's lows at 1890-ish, where the daily 8 now sits. And if we go even further below yesterday's lows, then we want to be targeting back to 1880, 1870. If we can hold 1900 and try to keep pushing, looking to get back to 1915, then 1923, yesterday's high, in a bid to get up to this 1928, 1930. Beyond that, the next big key level is 1941. But something to keep an eye on Ready is just that it has been leading. We've seen a lot of small caps rotation to the upside. Yesterday, it was a little quiet. It did not get back up to new highs like we saw on NQ, ES, whatnot. So Ready giving me a little bit of, well, let's just say, concern to the downside that Ready is taking a break. As long as it stays above the daily 8, not too worried. It can go sideways after a good push. And even in last week's selling, you know, it got down near the daily moving averages, pushed right back up, but hasn't really broken out past, you know, a little bit, right? We did set a new high, but then right back below last week's high. So just some concern on Ready that it's slowing down and maybe not going to break out. On to YM. YM also a little bit of cause for concern. You know, we were living life above 34,000. YM was leading the charge to the upside, and then in the sell-off that we had last week, YM fell from that 34,000 down to 33,000. It has made it back to 34,000, but that's just the bottom of this balance range it was in after that strong drive up. So today, really want us to get back above 34,000 and push off of it. If we can get above 34,100, then we are starting to break more into that balance range. And we'd want to target the middle of it at about 34,250, the top of it at 34,500. Come on. Overall, on any pullbacks, yeah, right there. See all these pre-market highs? And kind of the last spot we bounced at yesterday, I'm going to call it 33,925, 33,900. So I'm going to actually make a little box. There we go. So basically, YM on any dips, I want to see it hold that 33,900, 925, the bottom of this 30-minute squeeze, and make a quick turnaround to get above 34,000, push off of it, get above 34,100, and then it's very clear signs to the upside to get to that 250, maybe even 500. If we start to lose this 900, we want to target back to 850, then, well, yeah, 850, and then down to 750, where those daily moving averages sit. But we've done a great job of getting back above them, holding them, pulling down to them, holding them. Let's at least hope that YM has had enough time with these moving averages to finally push away from them to the upside. Otherwise, we give out that 30-minute squeeze and it fires downside right back to those moving averages. All right, on to Apple. I'm going to try to just hit some of the big key names. Oof, AMD made it up to 75. Apple yesterday did a great job holding that 142. We talked about that in prep, how it was support, then resistance. Want to see it support. It was a great bounce point yesterday to play right back up. And we are knocking on the door of yesterday's highs, pre-market. On any pullbacks, we have our 30-minute squeeze at 143, our 1 hour at 142. So those are the 2 points we want to see hold for continuation up to 144.5, 145. If we can even push past that, 147.5 is the next big key one, and 148.5 is about where that daily 200 sits. For Apple, we start to lose that 143 at 142. We want to target back to 140, 141, 140. AMD. AMD reports earnings next week. Ooh, interesting gap down. We had what, Intel report after the bell last night, I think. So it could be a reaction to Intel. Yeah, because Intel actually dropped. They had bad future guidance or something. I remember seeing some blip. Overall today, looking for AMD to hold the 72.3 and start to get back above pre-market high 73.5 to push back up to that 75.25, 77 that it already fought to. You know, we pulled back to the 8, caught the bounce, little profit taking back, dump on sympathy, and then let's see if we can hold that daily 8 again and make that recovery bounce, that catch-up trade. Otherwise, we lose that daily 8 and this 72.3 coming down to this 4-hour squeeze bottom near 71.5, or we're back to 70 where all the daily moving averages sit. Amazon. Taking its sweet time to get through this 100, or to even get there. So Amazon reports earnings next week. Already had that big reaction because of Microsoft and BA and what the market was doing, right down to the daily 50 and 21. Huge bounce up, looking like it's ready to rally from the daily moving averages up to set new highs before, or new highs from these recent ones before earnings next Thursday. Overall today, I want to see it hold that pre-market overnight low of 98 at that 30-minute squeeze bottom and continue this journey up to 100, 101, big key level 101, 78, 102 up above. If we start to lose that 98, then back to 97, 96.5 where the daily 8 sits. And below that, we'll cascade back down to the bottom of this 4-hour squeeze. Google. Google had some nice pushes yesterday. Overall, I want to hold this 96.5, 97 at the bottom of this 30-minute squeeze. As long as we can hold there, looking to push through yesterday's highs near 97.5, make it back up to this 98.78. If we get some kind of crazy day, 100, 101. If we lose that 96.5, then 96.95. Right back to yesterday's range. Meta. Meta. Definitely leading XLC up near third Keltner. You know, when it gets near third Keltner, it's not usually something I want to trade. Yes, it can go more, but at any point it risks coming back. So not really paying attention to this one very much. I'd want to see it hold 146, pre-market lows, 30-minute squeeze bottom, try to get through yesterday's highs, continue up to 150. If we lose 146, then you want to target back to 144 and 143 near yesterday's lows. Oop, Microsoft. Can't skip old Softy. So Microsoft made it back, had earnings, made it back to that 230, 232, bounced right back up. Now knocking on the door of 250 almost. Pre-market lows near 246, looking for 246 to hold on any dips. Bottom of a 30-minute squeeze. Looking to continue up to 250, 252, and 255. Right where our earnings wick stopped. Right where that daily 200 sits. Those are your upside targets. If we lose 246, then you'd want to target 244 and 241 to the downside. Netflix. So Netflix had earnings, been on a tear, made it up to third Keltner. It's starting to go a little sideways through these uptrends, which were pretty sharp and strong. So it's something to keep an eye on today. Want to see it hold 360, 361, where our key level is. Below that, could start to head back down. Second Keltner, 355. Daily 8, 350. So those are the downside targets. But if we can hold 260, 261, looking for Netflix to try to get back up above 365, 370, yesterday's pre-market highs, and above that, 378, the next big key target. NVIDIA. Mission 200. So we did get that slap of 200 yesterday, and then she came back to settle. Overall, looking for her to hold 190, 191 at the bottom of that 30-minute squeeze to try to continue back up for another 200 test or to get through. I got a big key level up at 210, but that's going to be a couple days journey. It's already up at third Keltner's and doesn't report earnings till near the end of February. But it has AMD next week to react with. If we start to lose that 190 30-minute squeeze bottom, we want to target down to 185. The 4-hour squeeze bottom where the daily 8 sits. QQQ. Come on. Anytime now, toss. Did I get a complete freeze? Yep. Great. Well, I guess while we wait, looking at ES. Alright, there we go. So, on QQQ, 292, 92.91. Want to see that hold at the bottom of this 30-minute squeeze. I'm sorry, 1-hour squeeze. Want to see that hold. Want to push back above the daily 200, 292.75. Get up to yesterday's highs and pre-market highs near 293.5. And can try to continue the journey up to 295. And maybe beyond. If we start to resist and lose that 291, 290, then we want to target back to 288 near yesterday's lows and this zone of support at 286. With a slight gap down, going to be opening near 40.50, near yesterday's highs. Would like to see it try to hold 40.50. At the worst, 40.40. And pop up to fill the gap, maybe keep going through yesterday's highs. Upside target trying to get to 40.72, 40.85, 4100. Moving on to SPY. So on SPY, want to hold above 402.5, 402.75 at the bottom of this 1-hour squeeze. As long as we can hold there, looking to push back up above 404, get to 405 near yesterday's highs, and try to continue that journey up. Next Keltner at 406, next big key level near 409. But if we start to lose 402.5, we want to target right back down to this 400.5, 400. Yesterday's lows, below that the daily 8 near 399. Tesla. Had earnings, big strong move and continuing. Next upside targets. Come on, there we go. On any pullbacks, want to see us hold 158, 160. You can see that pre-market low and kind of where we topped out near close. Pre-market low at 158, that high at 160.5. So looking for those levels to hold on any dips into this zone, right back out to continue to 166, 167 and a half, and maybe above 170. Back below 158, we want to target to 155 and then 152 where the daily 50 sits. VIX. Down below 20, down below 19 even. Okay. So on VIX, for further upside, would love to see it stay below 19, but we do have the daily 8 here at 19.35, near yesterday's highs, near 19.5. So if we do have a little dip, we might see, if we have a dip to squeeze bottoms before heading higher, we might see VIX pop above 19, maybe even get to this 19.3. Ultimately, we want to see it stay under that, or stay under 19, and head through yesterday's lows near 18.5-ish, down to the bottom of this 4-hour squeeze, and then if we're going to have a strong day up, push through 18.5 to get back to 18 recent lows at the bottom of this daily and 2-day squeeze. But if we're going to see a pullback and fire our squeezes to the downside, we'll likely see VIX get up to this 19.3, then push up to 19.84 where the daily 15 sits, 19.9 where POC is, 20 big key level. If we're going to fire squeezes to the downside today, that's where VIX will likely fight up to. So let's see if we can stay under 19 and we can continue this rally. That's it for prep. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Hopefully you all have a great day. Good luck. Hopefully everyone's had a great week. We've called out some great trades all around, some 10x, some 5x. Yesterday was very strong. Let's see if we can have another fun, strong Friday. And we'll see everybody in the chat.